Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, wait, where did all my money go? Because whether you work in Germany or in the US, the number on your contract and the number that actually hits your bank account are two very different things. And trust me, what you really take home might surprise you. Let's start with Germany. The average German salary is about 54,800 euro a year. That is around 4,500 euros a month before taxes. Sounds decent, right? But after taxes and deductions, the net pay is closer to $2,500 to $2,700 a month. Yeah, nearly half of it is gone. So where does all the money go? Well, it is not just the income tax. In Germany, you're also automatically paying for the country's entire social safety net. That means pension insurance, about 9.3% of your income, health insurance, another 7.3%, plus a small extra contribution, unemployment insurance, about 1.2%, long-term care insurance, around 1.7%, and if you are religious, church tax, another 8 to 9% on top of your income tax. So before your paycheck even arrives, almost 37% of your gross salary is already gone. And your employer pays almost the same amount again on top of your salary to fund the system. That's crazy, right? But here's the twist. Most Germans don't really see this as money lost. They see it as money invested because healthcare, unemployment support, and retirement are all included. And now let's jump across the Atlantic. In the US, the average salary is around $66,000 a year, or around $5,500 a month. And when most Americans see their paycheck, they feel lucky because the take-home might still be around $4,000. That's almost 75% of their gross pay. Seems way better than Germany, right? Well, not so fast. That's because Americans don't pay much into social programs up front, but they pay later. Healthcare, private insurance, easily $300 to $600 a month, sometimes even way more. Retirement, you have to set it up yourself through a 401k. College, not free. Paid parental leave, really rare here. So while the US take home looks higher, once you cover all those things that Germans already pay for automatically, the gap closes really fast. In fact, for many middle-class families, the US ends up being just as expensive, if not more. But here is the thing that almost no one talks about. In Germany, your employer pays half of all those social contributions too. That means your 60,000 euro salary might actually cost your boss $80,000 a year. Let me give you a real life example here. Imagine two people, one working in Germany, one in the USA. Both make around $70,000 a year or 65,000 euro. The American might take home around $4,200 after federal and state tax. The German might take home about $2,800 after tax and contributions. On paper, the American wins. But the German's healthcare is already fully covered. No surprise, medical bills. Yes, we do have co-pays, but it's not as extreme as here in the US. They get paid vacation by law, usually at least 20 days a year, often more. And if they lose their job, unemployment insurance kicks in automatically. The American, they need private insurance, have to save for retirement, and might get no paid vacation at all, depending on the company they work for. So yes, Germany takes more upfront, but it gives back a lot quietly behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about something else that is fascinating: how people talk about money. In Germany, it is still pretty taboo to talk about your salary at all. Even your best friend might not know what you actually make. But that's starting to change a little bit, especially because of a new EU rule that will make pay transparency mandatory by 2026. Employees in large companies can already request a comparison of salaries between men and women in similar roles. In the US, it's almost the opposite. Talking about your pay is legally protected, and in many states, employers must post salary ranges in job ads. So the US feels more open, but Germans are catching up pretty fast to that. Still, this difference in openness also shows how each culture thinks about money. Americans talk about earning, Germans talk about security. So what do you actually get for all those taxes and deductions in Germany? You get a safety net that's almost impossible to fall through. You get universal healthcare, free education through universities, paid parental leave, long-term unemployment benefits, a national pension system, which a lot of the young people never will see any money from that anymore, but it is in place. You can literally live your whole life without ever paying a hospital bill as well. And while Americans pay less in taxes, they pay more out of pocket for almost everything else. And here is the real irony. Even though Germans pay a lot more upfront, household savings rates are actually higher in Germany than in the US. Why? Because people don't need to save just in case. When the system works, you don't need to GoFundMe for healthcare. When I got my first real job in Germany at around 16 years old, I remember looking at my first paycheck breakdown thinking, what is Rentenversicherung and why are they taking so much money every month out of my paycheck? Then I moved to the US, saw my first American paycheck and thought, wow, I'll make a lot of money here. 2 months later, the health insurance bill hits and I realized I actually wasn't rich. Living in both systems taught me something. In Germany, you pay for peace of mind. In America, you pay for freedom of choice. Neither is wrong, they just reflect what each culture values most. So what do you really take home? In Germany, less money, but more security. In the US, more cash, but also more risk. And maybe that's the real difference. In Germany, the system protects you. In the US, you have to protect yourself. If you found this video interesting, make sure you like, subscribe, comment below, and check out my other videos about the cultural differences between the US and Germany. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Misha, a German living in the USA and the American dream, and still figuring out which paycheck feels better. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.